If nothing changes, nothing changes. Have you ever thought about how, quite frequently actually, those cliches, those standard platitudes, those kinds of things that are repeated all the time come from somewhere? And they come from somewhere and have been said 1,000 times because they're true. And this is this one where I see a lot of people where they're like, well, I'm unhappy with my life, I'm unhappy with my physique, I'm unhappy with my mental health, my career, my income, my relationships, all this kind of stuff. And then you push a little bit deeper and it's like, well, what are you doing to change these things? What are you doing to fix these things? Oh, nothing. Huh. So we're just here to complain. We're just here to whinge about woe is me, woe is my life. That's what we're doing. We're not actually interested in growth. We're not interested in doing hard shit. We're not interested in being pushed outside our comfort zones and seeing who we can become. We just want to complain about how our life is shit and we don't have the things we want, and that's just the reality of our lives. Cool. That's where we're at. Because nothing changes if nothing changes. And we can come at this 101 different ways. We can come at this in all the different circumstances. We can talk about physical, we can talk about mental, we can talk about emotional, we can talk about spiritual, we can talk about all the different components. We can talk about all the tools that are out there. You could use weighted walking, you could use fitness, you could use weights, you could use nutrition, you could use journaling, you could use sticking to something for 30 days every day, you could use counseling, you could use mind dumping, you could use journaling, you could use sauna, you can use ice baths, you could use, the list goes fucking on and on, depending on the area that you want to improve. And there are different variations depending on if you have, what you have available to you. But the real question is, are you willing to do the things required to change? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I've spoken about it a few times when we talk about becoming the man before the life then happens. So when we talk about changes, it's not just, going for a weighted walk. It's not just lifting weights. It's not just eating an animal-based diet. It's not just committing and following through. Those are part of it. But you have to become the type of man who does that. You would have to become the type of man who keeps his word, who has a zero-choice mentality, who does the shit no matter how you feel about the situation, that just follows through. You have to become that man first, and then you live as if. Talking about the cliches again, fake it till you make it. It comes from that kind of thing. It's not necessarily fake it till you make it, but it's act as if. Act as if you are already the man who has the physique that he wants. Act as if you are already a man who has established mental toughness and fortitude. Act as if you're already a man who is leading your best life. Now, what does that man do? What habits and rituals and thoughts and actions and practices does that man have that allows him to be that man? This is the question. Because if you start acting as if, over a long enough time period, you will become that man. You will step in and become that man who can live that life. But we have to act as if well before we reach that point. And this is part of that gap that people, want to become these things. And it's why on the spectrum, I think there are problems with these quick fix programs, because if you aren't also doing the work at the same time to become that man, you're going to have problems, because you're just going to revert back to who you used to be. You're going to revert back to the guy you were before. So when we do these they talk about 90-day programs and stuff. And I'm like, are you actually changing up here? Are you changing the mental component of who you are? Are you shifting who you are going to be? Or are you thinking to yourself, at the end of this, I'll just go back to what I was doing before? Because if you're just going to go back to what you were doing before, what's the fucking point? And it's why within my 30-day challenge here, the weighted walks 30-day challenge, a big component of that is changing your viewpoint, changing your perspective. Because we're going to review, we're going to hold you accountable, and we need you to actually think deeply about what's going on, what you're gaining from doing this exercise. Because anyone, and I mean fucking anyone, can do anything for 30 days. Like, unquestionably, anyone can do anything for 30 days. And it's only 45 minutes a day for 30 days. But I can near guarantee you that it will completely change every aspect of your life. And, doing the weighted walk is a big component of it. But it's all the other things too. It's about you becoming that man who can do those things. Becoming the man who recognizes what's going on in your head. Being able to look at the internal monologue and see what thoughts are coming up, what this is bringing to the surface, what is happening as you are doing this work. Because this is a component of it as well. It's not just, I did the task, yes, I ticked the box. No, it's about what you gain from doing that, what you learn, who you become from consistently doing this task for 30 days in a row, with no days off, with no exception. Rain, hail, or shine, who do you become through doing this work? And that's the component that matters as well. That's why we talk about, the introspection, the working through the hurt locker, working out who you are on the inside, not just on the surface level, but deep down when shit hits the fan. Who are you and what are you going to do about those situations? These are the things that we need to look at. These are the things that matter. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you don't go into this 30-day challenge with this in mind, that I am becoming a different man, then nothing's going to change. Look, your physique will change, you'll get stronger, you'll get fitter, your aerobic capacity will go through the roof, you'll feel better about yourself, all that kind of stuff. But the bigger, deeper changes, the confidence, the willpower, the mental fortitude, the toughness, the discipline, all that kind of stuff won't really come through unless you go in with the intention that I'm about to become the best version of myself. I'm about to become the best man that I can be. Because if we are, for lack of a better term, content with where we are, why would we change? Why would we move forward and grow? And it's why I have problems with so much of the fitness industry. Because so much of it's looked as this flash in a pan, this crash diet, this let's get stuck in for 30, 60, 90 days, and then I can go back to who I am. No, you need to become a better version of yourself. You need to become a better man. If you aren't happy with your life, why the fuck are you going back to it at the end of the 90 days? Why are you going back to it after 30 or 60 or 90 days? Like, if you're unhappy and you're not liking the outcomes that you're getting, and you actively make a choice to do something different, why then at the end would you revert back to where you were before? It makes no sense. The reason why you do something, the reason why you put in effort and work your ass off to make changes is to make changes. But so many people are like, no, I'm just gonna go back to what I was doing. And even people close to me have been on this route. They're like, oh, I've had this lifelong issue. So I'll give you one example. I won't name names, but if they're listening, they know who I'm talking about, and I've said it to their face, so, not exactly sugarcoating it. They had a back problem. 4 years. I mean, 30 plus years. And they had seen everyone under the sun. Chiros, physios, osteos, doctors, surgeons. No one could fix them. Their back was always an issue. I come in, and we have a good personal relationship. I come in 4 weeks, I fix their back. And they're like, fantastic, I'm cured. I'm like, no, you have to keep doing this shit now. No, but it's better. And I'm like, no, it's not. We've just alleviated the issue, but to maintain that, you have to keep going. And they don't. And so they stopped. And lo and behold, it came back. And so they come back to me, and I fix it again. And they stop. And lo and behold, it comes back. And it's this concept that drives me up the wall with this, that if nothing changes, nothing changes. And it's a hot take, but I firmly believe that if you're actually going to change, unless you're going to change permanently, why bother? Like, unless you're going to do this for the long term, for the long haul, why bother doing the effort? And on the flip side of that, I think you should start. I think you should start with the intention and do it properly, because if you just start, I think if you truly commit to the change, it'll happen long term. But it has to be a long-term change. You can't keep going back to the person that you hate after changing for a little bit and expecting the results to be different. It's always equated to Einstein, but I actually don't think it's an Einstein quote. But it's the one of, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And isn't that the truth? That if you keep dipping out, making healthy choices, making good choices, making good life choices, and then dipping back in and going, fuck, I'm back into the situation where I was and I hated my life. Wonder how that happened. Well, my friend, it happened because if nothing changes, nothing changes. And this is the point that we need to think about. This is the point that I want to see you succeed. I want to see you transform your life. In fact, I know it is completely possible. And 30 days isn't a very long time commitment. But it's the starting stone. It's that first stone that will transform everything for you. And once you realize the power of doing that, and once you realize how capable you are, and you see the man that you could be, we can just build upon that. It's just a foundational brick, but it's such an important foundational brick that everything else comes from that moment. Everything else comes from that. So if you can give me 30 days of your life with full commitment, all in, no questions asked, just doing the work, trusting the process, I can near guarantee that your life will never be the same again. That everything in your world will get better because of this. That everything will progress forward if you can just make this commitment. And I meant it when I said your confidence, your mental discipline, your just discipline, fortitude, your commitment, how you feel about yourself, how you show up, how others view you. That's not to mention even, your physical thing. You'll drop a crap ton of body fat, how your aerobic capacity, your strength, how your physique looks, all these kinds of things from 30 days. And I know a lot of people are saying, I can't see it, Lachlan. I can guarantee it, that if you do it properly, if you go all in and you actually do the work as it is designed to be, and you don't just commit for 30 days to then give up again in 30 days, if you commit with the full belief that this is going to transform your life, it will. You've just got to go hell to leather with that commitment. And I think that's the difference in most things, but definitely in this. if you can give me that, it will change. And we won't have to have this discussion again about how nothing changes if nothing changes, because you will have changed. You will have embodied that man that you want to be. You will have embodied one of the habits of the man you know you should be for 30 days in a row. And it just spiderwebs from there. When you make that commitment, it'll spiderweb out into all the other areas of your life. Suddenly you'll be less likely to stay up late. You'll be less likely to eat that shit because you know it makes your walks harder. You'll be less likely to make choices that make you exhausted. You'll be less likely to do the other things, because once you start noticing how that impacts this one area that you have committed all in for, all the others seem to get better. All the others seem to flow better, because it is that halo effect. It's why I always talk about fitness being the initial habit, being the first point of call, because everything else halos out from that point. And that's where you get your bang for your buck, because your whole life changes when you change your health and fitness. Even down to things that, people often scoff at this one, but I'm like, hey, transform your body and tell me it isn't true. People will respond to you differently. People who are in great fucking shape, others respond to you differently. And statistically speaking, they earn more money, they get better jobs, they receive better outcomes from people, because there is some underlying level of respect that this man can commit, that this man can do the work, that this man has discipline and can show up and can do it no matter what is thrown at him. So yeah, it makes a difference. It'll make a difference in all areas of your life. And even if it doesn't, even if it's just you get healthier, you get stronger, you get fitter, you drop some body fat, even if that's it, don't you think that's enough of a reason to commit for 30 days? Don't you think that's enough of a reason to see what you are capable of in 30 days? I think it is. As I said at the start, anyone can do anything for 30 days. It's just 30 days in a row. You can do that. That's not hard. If you can't commit to 30 days, what are we even talking about? If you can't commit to 30 days for your family, for your wife, for all those people around you, what are we even talking about here? So, I'll leave you with that. And I'll leave you with that thought one more time. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So now is your moment to go out and truly pursue this, to do the work, and to make that change. Not temporarily, but for good, to become the best version of yourself. So as always, standard platitudes. If you took value from this, if you found this helpful, if there was something that was like, yeah, that was great, please like, comment, subscribe. If you know someone who needs to hear this, who's on the nothing changes if nothing changes circuit, please send it to them. Help me spread this movement. Next, if you are ready to take the next step, please click the link in my bio, join the Daily Greatness Mail, and grab my top 10 tools to transform your mental toughness and your life. Lastly, if you've heard what I'm laying down, if you're feeling what I'm putting out, and you know it's time to actually do something, to change for good, to stop this circle and round, this circle jerk that we are in, and do something proper, then shoot me a message. Let's get you into the 30-day challenge, the Weighted Walk 30-day challenge, because anyone can do anything for 30 days, and it will transform your life. So if you're ready for that, shoot me a message, and let's throw you in, and let's see what we can do for you. Until then.